Okay, it is Sunday, March 15th of 2020. Just wanted to check in. I haven't made a vlog, video log in a few days. So I just wanted to check in. What I've been doing the past few days is honestly just doing my best to rest. Most of my days in, entail me running around manic and having anxiety, not really have taken the time to relax and breathe and cultivate a plan throughout the day. Tis one of the easiest sources of anxiety that all we have to do is just kind of relax and breathe for a minute and cultivate a plan. But I've been feeling much better. My voice is still a little bit raspy. I got the deer walking outside. Look at, we call this one Beatrice. She gangly looking doe. Oh, and we got the little baby fawn too. Yeah, Liam. All right, so, but my lungs are feeling much better. I've been drinking lots of tea. I've really been doing my best to detox over the past going on more than a week now. I made it about 3 days not eating any food, and I was just doing so. That was an apple cider vinegar and lemon juice and Himalayan salt fast. On top of doing that fast, I came out of that just by eating some tomatoes, some little cherry tomatoes, and eating very very light. Whatever I did eat, I didn't eat any carbs, any bread, anything like that, which I know we get in the habit of doing, and I just think I will give another acknowledgement to that power of habits and that we really are creatures of habit. And if we do anything more than anything, any sort of activity, we get in the energetic state and the energetic habit of doing that, whether we want to or not. And that, for the most part, is what happens with carbohydrates. And that's why I can mow through a whole bag of fucking hot Cheetos and just keep going. But getting those out of my body, I've noticed when I'm eating those, the cells in my body are a lot more inflamed. And especially in my throat and just my cells. And that's why when I eat, or most of us, so when I say I assume I'm no different than anybody else that eats those kind of foods, our skin gets puffier. So that's why, and we get bloated. And that's what that exactly means, is the cells of our bodies aren't transmuting energy the way that they should from cell to cell, and that's how they stay healthy. But what happens when we eat too much bad food and we get bloated like that, the transmission of energy between cells kind of slows down and stops, and the cells stay to themselves and they become little cesspools. And that's what makes them very susceptible to not only inflammation, from that you get inflamed cells, and from that you get disease. At which point cancer, and no, not cancer in regards to the virus, we'll stay on topic of the virus, but cancer is very similar. But that's how cancers and viruses take over cells. So it really is that simple. Of just, I've done my best to keep the energy coming into my body very light and very simple. And yeah, that requires the discipline of, I ate it last night, okay? I had a piece of cake that was up in the cupboard that I've been staying away from for the sake of carbohydrates. But I've been feeling much better. Mucus has not been coming back into my lungs. And here's a really big point that I want to hit on in the progression for today being the 15th. Because I know over the past couple weeks was really rough for me. I had to start the day oftentimes in the shower. Luckily, I have an enclosed shower, so it kind of keeps in all the steam, and just doing a lot of deep breath work. And I made a few videos on those too, just kind of doing my best, relearning. I had to relearn how to breathe into my lower lungs and how to actually get that stuff out. The virus that just chills in there and it's just gooped up in our lungs that we can't get out. And that's why when our lungs feel heavy, it makes it very difficult to cough and get that stuff up. So what I did as an alternative is I did really humid air. It was just a hot, steamy shower, and I did a lot of breathing, a lot of deep breathing, in and out, full breaths. I did quite a few rounds of that, and Wim Hof specifically, Wim Hof breathing, and it has helped me tremendously. I really do mean it. I did, on top of fasting and eating healthier. I lost some fat for sure, but I'm feeling much better. There's no more mucus accruing in my lungs. I honestly feel like, in waking up the past couple days, that's what it has been like. is my voice is still dry, and I think my throat's recovering. And not to say that this virus is 100% out of my body, because I can still kind of feel it, but I'm starting to get my life force back. Is easiest form of words to put together to describe what I feel like. I feel like I'm getting my life force back, and I feel like I'm in the habit of breathing again, consciously. And I think for me to get in the habit of stopping and taking 11 deep breaths, just 11 full in and out, it requires patience, and it's a type of meditation, because you have to stop and really come present to what you're doing in the moment, which is breathing. And that's how we can start one by one curing ourselves of anxiety along with this disease as well. So, not disease, I'm sorry, I meant the virus. And I can't say again, that's really all it is. I take it very lightly, because I just see it for what it is. It's just a virus that we have to train our bodies to ward off, and we just have to get stronger. It really is a choice of what Darwinism spoke of, and survival of the fittest. And that concept, not as a whole and entirety for evolution, but the concept of survival of the fittest most certainly rings to be true. And we get complacent as human beings in cities, just like in the movie WALL-E. That's why I love that movie so much, because for 700 years, everybody just gets used to living in that false reality of doing nothing and just getting fat and complacent. But Mother Nature still really doesn't care about us, and it's not that she doesn't care about us; she cares about us the most. But it'll tear your ass up if you're not prepared, and it's just one of those. It's a reminder to all of us that we can't forget about the world that we live in, and that we can't forget about the trees, and we can't forget about the air, and we can't forget about the planet Earth. And it's easy to forget living in our day-to-day societies and moving around like busy little bees, like we all are, having our jobs and our families and our obligations that we have to one another that we have to uphold. But it's always important to stop and smell the flowers. If anything, it is of the utmost importance. Quite literally, more than going to the doctor and getting treated for this virus. The best medicine that we can ever have is right here in front of us. It is just taking the choice to breathe. And you can't overdose. That's the best part about it. You can't overdose on oxygen. It makes you feel really good. The more you breathe, the more you get into it, the more alive you feel, the more you get your life force back and you get your lungs back. So, the one piece of medicine in regards to how we can handle the coronavirus for anybody is just stopping and remembering to breathe. And this means even if we haven't done it as a family, or you haven't done it with other people, I think that it's soon to be quite common for everybody to kind of stand around and just say, okay, everybody, who's ready to take 11 big breaths? And in those after, and just during that time where everybody can just really, no judgment, and just come into your own and just to take 11 big breaths, because life is so precious, and it's held within every single breath. And I think that we take that so for granted. So on top of everything else, let's just say thanks and be grateful for the breath that we have, and just remember to breathe. Just take 11 big deep breaths. Take as much time as you need to take 11 big breaths. So we're not in a hurry. It's not a rush. Okay, even though we feel like it all the time, but grass does not strain to grow. And nature is never in a hurry, and yet everything gets done. So let's always remember that. Hope everybody's having a good day.